Hey guys, I do want to apologize to you guys for not coming live yesterday. A lot of things happened outside of our control, so we decided to just, let's not stream it. We couldn't. But we will be coming back next week. Also, I want to make sure you know if you have any comments, as usually, super chat, if you want to put a super sticker, or super thanks, sorry, that's how we're gonna start next show with any super thanks that we have from this video. We do appreciate the support, we do appreciate everything. Please put in your comments who you think it will win, the score prediction, and that's how we're gonna operate for this video. You're gonna see the host predicting each game, and we'll see you on the other side.
AFC North, what's up? It's your boy Ace. Sorry I couldn't be there for tonight, but I am here to give you guys my picks for week 2 as things go around the AFC North. First one, pretty easy one here. Ravens and Raiders. Pretty much a layup here for Baltimore. It's no secret that the Raiders are a team that's probably looking to possibly pick in the top 3 next season. I think that they are going to be a hard out. However, I just think Baltimore in this situation is too much. You're talking about Lamar looking for a team that he can bounce back against. Now, this is Antonio Pierce, so it'll be interesting to see what he does defensively. However, I think the Baltimore Ravens look to get Derrick Henry more involved, look to build off of what Isaiah Likely did last week. I think that this one isn't going to be a super close one. I think that Baltimore may win by a few scores in this one when it's all said and done. So give me the Ravens here, even though they are coming off of 0-1. I think that they get back to 1-1 as it stands there. So give me the Ravens in that matchup. So for the next one, I'm going to go with Browns and Jaguars. This one is interesting because, as we talked about on the show, Deshaun Watson is not that guy that we thought that he is. Trevor Lawrence had a really good game last week. They ended up losing. However, if you paid attention, they were winning the majority of that game. To me, this signs up as a team in the Jaguars that are looking to kind of take the next step. I do somewhat believe in their offense a lot more than I do with the Browns at this point. Um, than I do the Browns at this point. So for this one, it's tough. Miles Garrett is kind of up in the air. He has a foot injury. Even if he plays, he'll probably be dealing with that. I'm going to go with the Jags here. I think the Jags right now are going to look to get back to 1-1. I think they should have been a team that was 1-0 last week if they didn't have that collapse that was led by that Miami Dolphins offense. And that Miami Dolphins offense is red hot, and they were able to keep it at bay up until later in the game where they succumbed and let go of that 17-point lead. So to me, I think the Jaguars, if they get on that, I don't know if Watson and company can match that offensively. I believe in the Browns from a defensive standpoint. Offensively, they're a mess right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Jaguars in this one when it comes to that game. So after that, that's going to bring me to the Steelers and Broncos game. Steelers really got a good chance of getting off to a 2-0 start. I mean, the Broncos, you're talking about them having a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, him having to go against that Steelers defense. I don't care if it's in Arrowhead. I think that's a tall task for anybody. I got the Steelers winning this one. I think the defense is going to prevail. I think offensively, it's probably going to be another ugly game, but I think that they will try to enforce their will with running the ball. I don't think that they will be able to pass the ball. You talk about Pat Surtain Jr., George Pickens being the only option offensively. I think you see Justin Fields do some things with his legs and then kind of lean on him and Najee Harris and that defense to come out with a win. So I do have them winning. I think that this is also one of those tight, low-scoring games as well. So I'm going to go with the Steelers on that one. And last but not least, Cincinnati Bengals against the Kansas City Chiefs. I know my co-hosts are probably all picking the Chiefs, right? I'm going to go Cincinnati here, and I'm going to tell you why. For the Cincinnati Bengals, this is a team that we're really familiar with. This is a team that this team gets up for. So sometimes the Bengals do play down to the level of competition. They don't live up to standards or they have these slow starts. This is the type of game that I think gets them up out of their seats, gets them ready. This is a guy in Lou Anarumo that is used to playing against Pat Mahomes. There won't be any Hollywood Brown. It looks like he actually may be out for the season. So guys to keep an eye on, obviously, are going to be Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, and also Xavier Worthy. I think the Bengals have the speed to match up with them at the cornerback spot. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. But I think that the Bengals will look to try to establish the run, get some passes going. With T out of this game, it's big because it seems like this could be a Jermaine Burton game. And if this is that game, Jermaine Burton could really play a huge role and helping out this offense. Anytime the Bengals or Zach has been criticized about his offense, typically the next week they kind of get it together. I look to see the Bengals bounce back here, let the people know who they really are, especially against a quality AFC opponent. And this is a team that Joe Burrow hasn't seen since that loss in the AFC Championship. I think a lot of people are discounting that. He's going to get up for this game. They're going to be up for this game. I think you're going to get another classic between these two teams. I think the winner wins by 3. And if I'm winning, I'm going to take the Bengals over the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you, guys. Salute.
Pittsburgh versus Denver, same story as last week. I don't think the offense is going to look amazing against Denver, but you know what? They're going to be competent, and competence wins football games, and that's going to be the case for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're just going to be more competent than the Denver Broncos. They're going to be more competent than a rookie quarterback out there. They're not going to turn the ball over as much. Even if they do, they got a better defense. They'll be able to handle that. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this game. They're going to start the season 2-0, and Steelers fans are going to be hyped up, and they're going to convince themselves that that offense not an issue anymore. But we'll see what happens in October with them once they go up against some tougher teams where scoring is going to matter more, right? The next couple of weeks is going to start mattering more. But this week, it's going to be all Pittsburgh. I would take them and the points. This is going to be a short segment. Like, the Ravens versus Raiders, I just don't see how the Raiders provide any credible threat to the Baltimore Ravens here. I think this is a game where Lamar can do as much as he wants. I think those wide receivers will be able to get open. Look, the Ravens are going to look like a great team versus the Raiders, and I think that has a lot to do with the Raiders just not being a good team. I told everybody when Antonio Pierce got in there and he was talking about building the team around a linebacker that was going to be cooked. I know everybody wanted to believe in Antonio Pierce, but I just don't think that's the kind of dude that's going to lead a good football program. And I think the Raiders are probably going to get smacked up here. I mean, you started Gardner Minshew trying to beat Lamar Jackson. I understand that Shane Steichen was able to do it last year, but the fact that Gardner Minshew beat the Ravens last year tells me or makes me feel more confident that he ain't going to be able to do it this year. I think this is going to be the Ravens, and I would take the points. Hey, what's up, AFC North Talk fans? Unfortunately, couldn't be there for the live stream this week. I have some injury issues to deal with myself that I didn't feel like I could sit down and be able to do the show. But I am going to give you guys my picks for the week. So we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one, I think both teams need to have a really clean, improved performance from what they had week 1. The Jacksonville Jaguars basically fumbled away a victory against the Miami Dolphins, who did get smacked on Thursday Night Football. And the Cleveland Browns, I mean, we all saw the game on Sunday. So both teams need to have a much improved performance. I would look for the Browns to lean on the run game this week. I know that everybody's talking about throw on Jacksonville. That's how you beat them. But Kevin Stefanski's offense always plays better when they get to running the ball. And after a week like that, I think they're going to get back to basics and start running this football a little bit more. Not going to let Deshaun Watson's passing attempts get to 40 like they did in that game. Going to be an important game for Deshaun Watson, right? Because I think if he doesn't have a good game here, then you really got to consider moving on from him because of how bad week 1 was and the current situation sitting around him. So that's my thoughts on the Cleveland-Jacksonville game. I think the Browns will be able to win this game. I think it's going to be defensively carried with the run game, and they're going to be able to pull through with the strength of those two. I do think we still have questions about Deshaun Watson, unfortunately, at the end of this game because it's not going to be too strong of a performance, and that's going to raise some eyebrows because the Jaguars are coming into this game with 2 starting corners out of this game. So that's my thoughts here. The big game of the week, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect the Cincinnati Bengals to look like a different team this week versus Kansas City. They usually are when they play against Kansas City. The Chiefs are coming off that 10-day layoff. They played that first game against Baltimore. We'll see if they're able to get through, but I expect this to be a very competitive game. I think the Bengals will lose in this one because we talked about it last week, right? The Bengals have more issues defensively than they've had in years past, especially in those years where you talk about them being able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't have that same quality of defense anymore. I think that's going to end up mattering versus them, right? They're trying to rebuild that secondary. The run game has been suspect. Well, the run defense, my bad, has been suspect for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that's all going to be proved to be an issue for Cincinnati in this game. And then you add that on top of the efficiency of Patrick Mahomes and the efficiency of this Chiefs defense. I think it's going to create a problem. They do a lot of stuff that the Bengals don't do well against. And I think they're going to be able to beat the Bengals. But the Bengals are going to look good in this one, much better than they did in week 1. But we are going to be talking about an 0-2 start.
Okay, let me talk to you guys about my picks, right? This week, I think the AFC North will do way better than last week. I mean, it's going to be hard to do way worse than last week. Only one team won. So let's start with the Steelers. The Steelers are going against a Broncos team that I currently are trying to figure out offensively what they are. And that's normal, right? When you have a rookie quarterback, the hard part is the schedule that they got. McDonald first week, Steelers second week. Denver defense is good. I think they're better than the Atlanta Falcons, right? But still, I think the Steelers offense will do very similar to what they did against the Falcons. It might be a field goal matchup, 15-18. Maybe they score a touchdown for the Steelers. I think they have opportunities to move the ball. I think they're going to do predicated of running the ball. Now, the question here is the Denver defense says, you know what? We're just going to clamp down. One-on-one matchup outside with the receiver, and if Justin Fields beats us like that, so be it. We're just going to suffocate the run. We're just going to just make him uncomfortable. And if that's the case, that will be interesting. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to move that way. I think they're going to have a similar game plan that what the Falcons did. And yes, they're going to put a little bit more people in the box, but still. On the other side, the defense of the Steelers is just gonna kill the Broncos offense, right? The McDonald and company against Bo Nix had a really good game. I think the Steelers, with better players on the defensive side than what the Seahawks had, I think they're going to have even a better game. I expect big games for the pass rush, Heisman and T.J. Watt. I think this is a game that bolsters well for PQ. And also Minka. I think Minka will have a couple, well, not a couple picks, but at least a couple batted balls and at least a pick. This game, again, Broncos don't have the offensive power against that defense. I think this game for Pittsburgh is a GG. I think they win. I think they win actually by a margin of 9-10 points. The Brownies. Look, Jacksonville had a tough time against Miami. The defense doesn't look right now as a great defense. So I cannot see how Trevor Lawrence and company will have a good game against the Browns. I now understand that the Browns had some problems in week 1. I think they go back and they go lower and make it easier on offense. They run the ball, right? The running attack of Miami was successful against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they predicate just let's establish the run, let's pound the ball, right? And then let's try to make play action and easy completions for Watson to see if Watson can have a better game. And on the other side, again, the defense of Miami did a really good job against Trevor Lawrence and company. I expect the Browns to do even better. Both teams desperate for the first win. Both teams do not want to fall 0-2. In the case in Jacksonville, they don't want to fall 0-2 against the AFC. So this is when I think you will see the Jacksonville trying and Trevor Lawrence maybe trying too hard. And Browns need to be there ready to take the ball away, to make the plays. I think the Browns win this game. Now, it can get away if Deshaun Watson has the same type of game than last week. Right? Now, the opponent, I think the Cowboys were a better opponent than this Jacksonville Jaguars, especially because the offensive power of the Jaguars I don't think is as good as the Cowboys. I think if they keep a clean game and Watson can just hit open receivers, I think the Browns win. I think they win by a touchdown. So, Ravens now, look, they're playing the Raiders. The Raiders had a lot of problems against Giro and company. J.K. Dobbins had a field day on the running side. The problem with the Raiders is they still don't have enough firepower. Not on offense, not on defense. Now, we have to be careful. Gardner Minshew came last year here to the bank and beat us. But what I think is going to happen, the Ravens are going to establish the run with Henry. I think this is a game that you see Henry and Lamar Jackson having a big game. And then the Raiders inevitably will have to bring down people, and then you're going to see Zay Flowers, likely, and Mark Andrews then having a day. I just think there's too much firepower for the defense of the Raiders to contain. The big question here is the offensive line. What are they going to do against Max Crosby? I think the game plan had to be established this week. against Max Crosby. But if they can contain and protect Lamar Jackson, I think they're going to have a good day on offense. And on the defensive side, look, the problem with the game against the Colts is they let the Colts hang around. Big play happened over there with Michael Pittman, and boom, then overtime happened, and so on, right? They had to limit the big plays. They had to contain Adams, right? Other than Adams, the running game is not existing. Make sure you keep that running game non-existing. Clamp against the run, and pressure Minshew. Force it, and when you force Minshew will try to throw the ball. The safety, both Hamilton and Willis, have to be ready to make those picks. I think Baltimore wins. I think Baltimore probably wins by 10 points at least. I think they're going to win by a touchdown for most of the game and just maybe had a field goal or touchdown at the end and just pull it away like that. And finally, the Bengals. Look, the Bengals have been talking a lot for a team that didn't win last week, didn't look good last week. Woof, man, it's like they are giving extra material for the Chiefs. D. Higgins not playing, so obviously that is concerning. Last week I wasn't concerned, ended up being a loss, but this week against the Chiefs, more firepower, you need to keep up. We'll see how this defense in the running game. We're talking about the Patriots were able to establish the run. If Pacheco's running all over the place, now play action comes into effect, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad, right? And then you on the other side, that defense is better, in my opinion, than the Patriots. At worst, the Kansas City Chiefs are the same type of defense that the Patriots are. Probably better. And on the other side, offensively, they're way better. So I think the Bengals, again, for some reason, trying to give more material and more fuel to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs takes this one. I think the Bengals are going to be the only team that loses this week. Going 0-2. I know they're trying to prevent going 0-2, but I think they're going 0-2. I think they lose by a touchdown against the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, guys, if you want to have anything highlight from this video that you want us to take for next video, make sure you put it there as a super thanks, I think they're called. Thank you again for supporting us. Thank you again for all the support and all the love that you give us. And we'll see you next week when we come live recapping all these games. Thank you. Till next time. Peace out.